Conservative Voices Silenced. I'm Kristine Sposato, and I'm excited to be your guide through the stories that matter. Stories of resilience, strength, and triumph in a world that doesn't always make space for conservative voices.
And I'm Elizabeth Smith, joining Kristine in this journey. We know how it feels when your beliefs seem to be drowned out by the noise, but here on this podcast, we're turning up the volume.
That's right, Elizabeth, and we're creating a space where conservative voices can speak their truths, sharing the challenges they've faced and the victories they've celebrated.
Conservative Voices Silenced is not just a podcast, it's a movement that recognizes the diversity within conservatism and gives a platform to those who felt marginalized.
So whether you're a conservative looking for reliable stories or someone curious about the experiences of those with differing viewpoints, you're in the right place.
Get ready for an engaging ride as we dive into the trials and triumphs of conservatives navigating a progressive world. We invite you to join us on this journey of discovery, understanding, and most importantly, amplifying voices that deserve to be heard.
This is Conservative Voices Silenced, where silence ends and the conversation begins. Candidate for the 75th Assembly District in Wisconsin. And the Wisconsin primary is coming up in a couple of weeks. It's August 13th, I believe. And so Jay is going to tell us a little bit more about his candidacy in Wisconsin and some things about the Wisconsin politics. And for myself, having been swirling around politics now for the last couple of years, I've discovered that it is unique to each region and each state.
Okay. Is there any background that you would like your potential voters to know about you?
Well, yeah, I guess I'm a local guy. I grew up across the river in Taylors Falls, Minnesota. Went to a little K through 12 school there, and then started working for my dad, who was a machinist in Taylors Falls, Schaefer area. And then when he retired, I moved on. I went to school for machining, for the kind of the computerized end of it. And then, but in the meantime, I guess I moved to Wisconsin, found my wife, married her. We moved to Luck, Wisconsin, and have lived here for 23 years. We've been married 27. Our youngest just graduated last year, so our youngest of three. So three really awesome grown kids that we raised here, and then so I have sort of reestablished the kind of family business, and I'm running a machine shop that's just right in my backyard, just a little tiny machine shop that I run. I've been doing that for 9 years now. So, and it's been going pretty well.
That's wonderful.
Oh, great. Jay, can you tell us some of the unique dynamics that are going on right now in Wisconsin politics and how you fit into that picture?
Yeah. And I mean, I don't know if I mean, there are people who know Wisconsin politics way better than I do, but from my sort of brief introduction to it, my experience has been that the Republican Party and the government, I mean, the government in Wisconsin is horribly corrupt. The Republican Party is like almost as bad. Like, here, I guess I describe it like, the Democrats are going to be crazy. That's just how they are. So and they don't really hide it. But the Republicans, they like to hide their sort of sneakiness, and they do all sorts of underhanded things, and they and honestly, they've been getting bolder and bolder and sort of coming out with their tactics and whatever. But just for an example, we were at state convention, and they had their chosen sort of candidate for Senate, the Eric Hovde. He's the sort of the chosen establishment candidate for that, and they wouldn't let his opponent Regine speak at the convention. Just completely banned her from speaking. And some people tried to speak up and protest about it, I guess, and they just wouldn't have it. No, absolutely not. And we have a no policy to not endorse before the primary, but they don't even care and kind of went around it. And on a smaller scale, we have a three-way race for my seat, the 75th Assembly District, and the RAC Fund, the Republican Assembly Campaign Committee. That's kind of I call it a slush fund, or like a pay-to-play fund that the Speaker of the Assembly runs. They've funded my opponents, and so they don't want a candidate like me who is sworn to uphold the Constitution. My whole goal is to bring us back to kind of how our founding fathers intended, where I'm just the sort of providing information and keeping people active and engaged, and then it's their voice that I bring back to Madison. So that's how our founders intended our government to operate, and that's all they want to do is just represent the people, and they don't want that at all. It's a threat to their power structure.
Well, Jay, Colorado is a mess right now too. Okay.
I was reading the voter guide. Okay. I was reading the voter guide, and you had mentioned, let's see, there was a lot of things on here. I didn't realize how in-depth these voter guides were, but you had written about the right to life, under what circumstances should an elective abortion be allowed, and you put none, and also mentioned about the abortion pill, and I agree with that. My personal take on abortion is, do we need to ban it, or should we focus more on going back and educating these kids and teenagers and things on how it all works? And because when I was in the Project No, or whatever it was called back then, you were taught what you needed to know. We didn't have teen pregnancy like we do now. And I feel like that's because we were educated on things, versus now where everything is sexualized. You have TikTok, you have social media that's making these kids sexualized at such a young age. My youngest is 7, and I cannot even imagine her getting on TikTok and doing some of these things that these kids do.
Yeah, I agree. There are so many more things that we can implement rather than abortion that would benefit us greatly. I mean, the everything from, like you said, education, and not having the books in our school that sort of promote that sort of lifestyle. There's just education about adoption and programs that can help for that sort of thing. It's my belief that we should also drastically increase the punishments for things like rape and incest, and to sort of stave that off. I know it's a tiny percentage, but it's there and it's terrible. And so there should be drastic consequences for that sort of thing. So, but yeah, there's people out there willing to adopt, and so there are many more solutions. We could fund adoption. We could fund the mother carrying to term. So there are many options for counseling and just uh, a great number of alternatives to abortion.
Get something out. So I support aid in dying laws which legalize assisted suicide and euthanasia, and you disagree with that. And I'm with you on that one. I feel like with all the mental health issues going on right now, that's a very slippery slope and allowing that to happen. And I know they're doing that in Canada, and that's a little scary for me to think about.
Yeah. I don't think, I agree with you. There's mental health issues. There's just plain health issues. We have, as America, I mean, we're the greatest country in the world, right? We should have the healthiest people by far in the world. And we have just huge problems with health and obesity and just general well-being.
Yeah.
We spray our fields with glyphosate and use all sorts of chemicals in farming and growing food, and there's just, it makes me sick that we use all the high fructose corn syrup and all the things that are just so bad for you, and they're banned in other countries because they're probably because they have universal health care, and it's the government who's paying they're paying the bills. So they're not going to let their people be so incredibly unhealthy. But
Right.
in the United States, there's just the cheapest foods that the poorer people can afford are the foods that are absolutely the worst for you. If you want to eat a healthy diet, you have to spend a lot more money, and that's a shame.
Yeah. It is. It was hard to eat healthy, and you're trying to buy organic, and even organic anymore isn't really what it should be. It's not up to standards very well anymore.
Yeah, they changed the description or the definition of organic.
Yep.
Yep.
It's crazy. I'm just going to go off these questions if you guys don't mind, because they're actually very good questions.
Yeah, I had fun filling that out.
I bet. I didn't realize how many there were until I started
There's
reading.
there's a Ballotpedia one too that's pretty good.
Okay, I'll have to check that one out too. So you said taxpayer funds should be used to provide gender transition services, and you strongly disagree. And I also strongly disagree. Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Not really. I mean, it's such a ridiculous thing that, I mean, and this is another mental health and sort of crossed with indoctrination thing that they're doing in the schools, where they're encouraging kids who are just, I mean, I remember growing up, you go through puberty, you go through a bunch of changes, you're confused about what's going on, and they're taking advantage of that and sort of using that to push kids into wanting to change their gender. Um, you know, I remember I grew up with my sister and my neighbor girl. We were together every day, all day. That my sister used to dress me up in dresses and laugh and point and whatever. I mean, that's just part of being a kid.
Right.
That's but that doesn't mean that you're need to transition into the opposite sex. It just everybody goes through a confusing period in their life, and then it gets cleared up when you mature a little bit more. So no, I don't think taxpayer funds should be used. I don't think any funds should be used for that, to be honest with you, but especially not taxpayer funds.
Yeah, especially with once you go through an actual surgery, talking to people who have come out the other side of a surgery, they're not better.
they're not healthier. Now they're completely mutilated, and that's just another mental issue now that they have to try to get over.
Yeah.
And it's really, really scary for our future of our children.
Yeah. Permanent. It's a permanent thing. And I know the suicide rates are higher for the transition youth as well.
Yeah. Yep. Something else that's big going on right now is the Title IX. And they had the biological males should not be allowed to participate in women's sports or occupy biological women's spaces, whether it be bathrooms, locker rooms, sorority houses, women's shelters, or prisons. And you strongly agree? And I strongly agree. I think that's also a slippery slope. There seem to be a lot of those.
No, there's all sorts of problems with Title IX, and that, allowing boys in girls' sports and girls' locker rooms. I mean, they're very obvious problems.
Right.
Boys are stronger than girls. It's just how it is. And that when you put them into girls' sports, you end up with a dangerous situation. So, and then you talk about them being in the girls' locker rooms. That's an obvious problem. And then scholarships. So they're stealing the scholarships away from the girls who are star athletes and have just incredible skills, and then that's being stolen from them as well.
Yeah. And even the Olympics pushing that stuff too. That's just, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I haven't watched a minute of the Olympics. Not that I'm a big fan of that anyway, but after I saw a few pictures of the opening ceremony and all that, it was like, yeah, they've sort of fallen off the edge.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I watched a few clips and it's like, no, I'm good. I will do something else in my time.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have anything you want to ask at this point?
Jay, do you want to say a little bit about, if you haven't already, contrasting you and your opponent? And I was also wondering earlier, where is the 75th Assembly District? How big is it? How many counties does it encompass? And is it culturally different in different parts of the district? Do you have some rural areas, some areas that are bigger towns, or is it all pretty much the same? Just kind of trying to get a flavor of where you are and who you're running against.
Yeah, it's pretty rural. So the 75th Assembly District is new. It's brand new because they redistricted everything in Wisconsin just last year. So it used to be 28 where I am now. Now it's 75. And they've sort of moved it north, which is actually better for me. The further north you go, the redder it gets. So the 75th Assembly District is all of Polk County in northwestern Wisconsin. And then like the southern 2/3 of Burnett County above it. So in Wisconsin, the assembly districts, they shoot for about 60,000 people. I think ours is 57 or something like that. So, but it's pretty even all around. I mean, there's small towns here and there. No, nothing big. I mean, you could do a stoplight count on two hands, I think. So, I mean, there's not a whole lot. It's a lot of, small towns with farms and industrial parks and, things like that around it, but no big cities.
I'm a very pro Second Amendment person myself, and I see that you are as well. And it also had asked you, should teachers be allowed to carry guns in school? And I'm with you. Yes, I think they should. I think they should be trained. I think the list of who is carrying should be kept between only very few people. I don't think the children should know that their teacher is carrying or that the principal is carrying and stuff like that. But I do believe that we should be allowing that to happen. The gun-free zones are just a bullseye of these poor kids.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. They know the perpetrators know where to go, and they can be assured that there's nobody there. I mean, of course, there's a resource officer at most of the schools. Actually, I think a lot of them have sort of cut that out. But so yeah, it's a scary situation. I think that definitely, teachers should be armed. I mean, of course, very well trained, but once you're trained and you're good at a good shot, and you know how to handle a gun, and you know how to draw it, and you know how to pull the sights up and shoot, you should be carrying a gun. And I mean, I carry a gun everywhere I go, so
Me too.
it's a scary world out there, so you gotta kind of watch out for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. And I know our school has a resource officer as well, but we have 4 buildings, and one school, or one of our elementary schools, is not connected to the other elementary, and the middle school and high school were completely separate. So one going to all of those places, you're lucky if you see them once a week.
Yeah, it's a lot of ground to cover.
Yeah, even upping that to one per building would help immensely too.
Sure.
But yeah, absolutely, I believe teachers should carry.
Am I back?
You're back.
Hi. Jay, I know that you were just at the Polk County Fair, at which I was a blue ribbon winner 50 years ago. But what are people saying? I know you've been out and about talking to people. What are people saying to you? Now,
You're there right now.
right now, what are people saying to you, Jay, when you're out and about visiting with folks?
Yeah, so I was at the Polk County Fair for 4 days straight. I was there the entire time. I left. I actually camped there, but I did go home a couple nights because I wasn't real comfortable, and it was hot. So, but in the time that the fair was open, I was there 100% of the time, and so I talked to hundreds of people from all over the district, and I didn't talk to a single Republican voter who didn't like what I had to say. Not a single one. There wasn't a single person that said, "Oh, that's not what we need," or "You're crazy," or "It's not even that's not going to work." I had a few people, kind of be like, "Oh my gosh, that's a huge undertaking, but that's what we need." So, and I'm not under any illusions that it's going to be easy to try to bring us all the way back to erase whatever 50, 60, 70 years of corrupt government. But
Right.
That's what we need. And like I said, there wasn't a single person that disagreed with me. And it's the same with knocking on doors. People like what I have to say.
Yeah.
There, if I could talk to everyone in the district, I think I'd get everyone's vote. I really do.
Yep. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Good. Jay, briefly tell us about your political journey. How did you get involved? And I know you are a leader in the Northwest Wisconsin Patriots group. And how did you hear the calling that you wanted to run for this office?
Well, I didn't hear all of that, but I think I get the I kind of get the gist of what you were wondering. So, the Northwestern Wisconsin Patriots came out of a really strange situation. I kind of came late to the party to a bunch of disgruntled people who had kind of had it with the local party and they wanted to take it over. And there's been like a lot of that going around where just people are just have had it up to here. I mean, with government at every level. So they felt their local party wasn't really doing what they ought to be doing. And a lot of it comes from, endorsing candidates or just being inactive or, whatever it is. So I sort of, and I believe that everything happens for a reason, and that God's hand guides us, and so He's responsible for these things. But it was a mistake. Here on Earth, it was what we did was a mistake, trying to overtake the party, and it upset a lot of people. But like I said, a lot of everything happens for a reason, and so a lot came out of that. And one of those things was the Northwestern Wisconsin Patriots. And so we've just been trying to inform the people around here in the county and district and, kind of the whole Northwestern Wisconsin area, just about mostly election integrity, but other things as well. Just sort of ties into my whole reason for running, just to try to bring the government back to the people. I don't think that we can ever trust another election that is run by a machine, ever. Like, I won't. I mean, whenever I feed my ballot into one of those machines, I get this awful sinking feeling that, that's the end of it. Nobody will ever see that, and it's up to the computer now to switch my vote for someone else or whatever. So, but so that's where that came from. I know you were up and we had you there. We had you there to speak to us, so that was awesome, Kristine. But
it's fun.
Yeah, so so it's amazing how that sort of stuff works. You sort of make a mistake, and then a whole bunch of stuff comes from it that never would have happened. Originally, I probably wouldn't be running if it weren't for that. A lot of circumstances came together that allowed me to run. That kind of opening my eyes, successful business, my youngest graduating last year, and then just sort of overall being, had it up to here with the whole political system. So
Yeah.
Yep. I hope that
Great.
answers your question, because I didn't hear all of it, but
Thanks. Yeah.
I think I went over almost the entire voter guide. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to add, Jay. Any way to maybe donate to? Well, that was something I did see on there, that you have not received any money from a PAC or anything like that. Do you have a way for people to donate to you if they want to, or is there something different that you're doing?
No, I do. I am actually pretty proud of that, and I've told quite a few people that I talked to at the fair and stuff that, yeah, I'm the only candidate in the race who isn't taking money, nor will I ever take money from a PAC or a political group or anything like that. 98% of the money I've received has come from people in the district. I have had a few donations from friends in other counties, and my mom lives in Minnesota. She sent me $100, but other than that, all the money that I've received for campaign donations have come from the people here in the district, and that is how it should be. I'm representing them. I'm not representing some PAC somewhere or some other political group. I'm representing the people. So I consider it to be, I mean, I know it's legal and it's fine and whatever, but I consider it to be unethical, I guess, because it's almost like a bribe. You know, you're taking a bribe to do, you know, do a certain thing or whatever. You're sort of already joining that establishment, you know, thing. So anyway, but yeah, there I do have I have a website and there's a donate button on there, so people can donate to my campaign. So my website is J for Wisconsin. It's JAYFORWI.com. I don't know what
Maybe in the good edition, it'll be able to read it. We'll make sure we put the link in our description as well when we put on Rumble and YouTube and all that stuff. The link will be there as well for anybody who wants to.
That's great. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to say it's J for WI. So it's the abbreviation for Wisconsin, not written out. J for WI.
Right.
.com.
Yep.
J4 Wisconsin. J4WI. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I think I have literally done the entire voter guide now, so
You did good. You did good.
It was
right.
good. They were good questions, and they were what people want to know. So
Yeah, it's great that you can find out a lot about me from that one. So the iVoter Guide, and then Ballotpedia has a really good one where they ask all kinds of questions, and I had a lot of fun filling that one out too. So you can really get to know me from that, and then Facebook too. If you go on the same JAYFORWI Facebook page. You can find out a lot about me there too, and then you can kind of see what people are saying about me, and you know, people who know me and that sort of thing. So that's nice. But yeah, there's no shortage of information about me out there. But really, I mean, when I decided to run, it was all like I decided that it was all about the people, and like that's it. Like that's my whole goal, is to re-engage the people back into the government. That's, as far as I'm concerned, that's the only way we're going to reverse course here and kind of save our government. And I think it applies almost nationwide, really.
Yep.
And I don't know of any other candidate in Wisconsin or anywhere that's talking like I am. Everyone is just sort of doing the standard politician thing where they go, yeah, I'm going to go and save, I'm going to go in and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to save the, you know, whatever, I'm going to do this and that, do that. But man, I'm sorry, you're not, because the leadership isn't going to let you do it. You have to have like a support structure underneath you. You have to have the people holding you up and holding you, one, making the decisions, and two, holding you accountable. That's the only way that it's going to happen, because accountability is a huge problem. These candidates, they say all the right things and make all the promises, and then they disappear and they're gone for 18 months until they want you to vote for them again. And my whole goal is to be there year round, constantly making sure that the people are engaged and the people are making the decisions and the people are holding me accountable. And I'm just the voice. And the other thing that fixes, and I heard this so much at the fair, is this sense of community is gone. And we're so divided, and everybody is just sort of keeping to themselves, and political talk is just taboo. You can't even do it. You can't go to Thanksgiving and talk to your family and friends or whatever about politics. It just starts this big commotion, and it's not worth it. So if you start getting the people back together to talk about issues and what we need to do to best benefit our district, our area, then you have the people talking again. You have the people coming together to solve problems, and that also solves that community problem.
Yeah. We're definitely falling apart community-wise.
Yeah.
Well, Kristine, while we actually have you here, do you have anything else?
No, but I do want to thank Jay. Thank you so much. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your perspective. We do need more people like you who are, the boots on the ground, the voice for the people. You're right. That's what we need in our country. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it
Thanks.
very, very much.
Yes, I agree. Thank you so much.